So we have 4 groups, and for the registered to be there, it's seminar room 2. Climate, yeah, for the reform is which here. So the panel would be on brands here. Please get up so that the people will see you, and when they locate you, they know they're in the right room. So that's Selom brands here. You can cling to his frock and he will lead you to the place. And the facilitator for that. So health is Dr. Gilbert Buckle. Selom Brantier, Umar Sanda Amadou. Rapporteur is Abida Abdullahi. For climate is Professor John Asafaje. The resource lead is Professor John Asafaje himself. He's doing 2. And the facilitator is Dr. Yao Aj. So that's Doc, right? And the rapporteur is Marie Noel Nokolo. Governance and corruption, Kojo Asante is the main man for that one, so he will take care of everybody. You saw Kojo earlier. Private sector development, Dr. Humphrey Yimdake will be on the panel. Seth Akwabwa is the resource lead. Seth is Seth in here. So there's Seth to my left. And Charles Boating will be the facilitator. Charles is there as well. And rapporteur is Michael Esiedu. And yes, so the accountability mechanism is the same as is that different? Okay. So that's what we will do. So please kindly get up and make your way respectfully to your one. Right. So for the constitutional reform, Rishaya Ibrahim Tanko and Gertrude Soa will be the rapporteurs. They are here. So here to my right, constitutional review, and the other health to my left. Okay. Private sector, seminar room 2. We have, let me just see how much time we have. So the brief, we make our contributions. The earlier we would close for lunch. Okay, thank you for your patience. 12:10. So we come by 1:45. We go straight to lunch. Okay, so once you're done, 1:45 session. We'll see you all in here. So we should all plan to be back in the hall by 2:45. Thank you. Sorry, those of you here, did any of you yesterday raise your hand for the Constitution group? Mm. I want to borrow some of you to the Constitution group. Ellen, I beg. Mm, it doesn't matter. You're fine. Okay, they say they are fine. So it's okay. But if you want to come by, you are free to come by. Okay. All right. Yep, young men, you can't find your location.
Hello? Yeah, it's going to disturb them. Oh, okay.
private sector you are doing. And feel my feel so what or but yeah, if you think we're lecture, right? The target but let me give you a background here. What we have here at the private sector government. And as we have read it, I've got the speaker. So some of you may have seen how your delivery in your but again you and what we are trying to do for late I get development of the sector, Ghana and said I don't have any use to tell the private sector of the and they are bigger for when you look at the contribution to GDP, when you look at this contribution to job creation, you can confirm that the private sector is bigger. While these opportunities are there, these are the challenges that are very out for the game. The first one is SME or asset finance. The second one we are looking at contracted or we believe that the private sector is the perspective of the infrastructure. The third one we are looking at the delivery framework that covers the private sector activity. And the last one is skilled employment of the skill gap that can you be at. So if you have issue, all the targets and goals that we have been, we did not just sit at average office do it. We considered comment of the organizations or companies under the private sector. We considered comment on embassies under the private sector. And we also came to arrangements and ratings and we also get your comment. That is what has been the target that we have set. We are still trying to raise on we have a flip chart that can write the target see them. But once we do that, we are going to the targets are and it's very short and you don't want that. So some of the so we will get it. Somebody is going to down. For those that have to be done, they want to bring away, as I said, access to finance, or anything for going to be done. One of the concepts that I think SME is fine. The other one is contracted or the third is very able to finance. The fourth one is bring we have to be able to achieve higher private sector. Even before the flip chart comes, I don't know, is there for those that are on the decision, is there anything, any of the targets that are by looking at the target, that it also minus okay, so let me read for the targets. You are going to see that I'm going to one of the first questions one side. So our target strategies have issue with the target that is setting for 100 million each of the thing that 5 years it's too much.
tech incubator and all that. But we don't see
Please, can you
government
hear him?
intervention. I hope you can hear me. I'm louder than this, so you can't see government's intervention in supporting startups. You understand? I studied in China, and by virtue of that, I became the first African to start up a tech company in China, and I built a $40 million company in China, a tech company in China, the first black man. Process, deliberate process by the government. For example, if I come here and I maybe conduct a research and I say, maybe how many people love apples here, right? And I realize that maybe 60, 70% of people seated here love apples. So that data, I can use that data to go to, let's say, Charles, and say, Charles, look, I have this group of people that they are my target market. About 70% love apples. So give me money to go into what? Farming. That is viable, right? There are a lot of ideas that a lot of you young people, right, have. But of course, the system does not provide you that kind of financial, they don't meet your financial needs to be able to execute your ideas. When you go to the bank as a young graduate, you finish, you have a very viable idea, you go to the bank, you don't even have a collateral. But then the interest rate is 30%. How are you going to sustain? How are you going to even be competitive in the market? If I need 10,000 CDs for my business, I can raise it from equally like 100 people here, right? And of course, the business doesn't go well. You lose only 100 rather than one person. So let's move away from the loans system.
Under finance, the second point, we are talking about alternative markets. And I think that is what he's talking about. It's captured under point 2. So that's the other option. But we wanted to take a decision on our brother's proposal regarding the railway, the 5 year that we have given. Is this something that you think that we have to do something about? If you can finish on that point. Kindly.
Thank you very much. I'm Osman Ibrahim, representing Association of Small Scale Industry, Bono East Region. Like my brother Sabanos.
I hope it's still on the railway.
Yes, please.
I wanted us to finish.
That is exactly what I am hitting on. I am from Techiman. Professor Akufi Amio, the then railway minister, was also from Techiman. And you know, to Baga, we were all happy. You can imagine from his time till now. And we are now talking about 5 years. Is it magic or is just by writing? We should be sincere and honest to ourselves. 5 years from now, believe.
It is feasible.
I don't want to conclude by saying it is not possible, but the possibility to make it possible is impossible.
And
5 years from now, building railway from here, or should I say, to have a railway like what we've stated in 5 years, well, we pray into reality. Thank you very much. So we should extend the date. I propose, even if 10 years is okay, so far as life is concerned, fine. But if not,
thank you very much. Bridget, please, you can come.
This is the Ghana Compact. I think those of us, they put these, the parties that we've had in power have put some of these things in their manifestos and promised because the resources have been squandered.
Yeah.
And we, why? Because we put them there, we trusted them. So we are saying, we the people, this is what we want. It lacks about what, look at some of the projects that came up and were completed before elections because people want to be elected.
Yeah.
Look at the infrastructural projects. It is possible. It is possible if they know that they and I'm a politician. If you know that your votes and your election is dependent on finishing these projects, or you want to be these projects to be what you will show off so that you are elected, you will do it.
Yeah.
They did it. They did Kaswa. They did what's the name of that place? Dubai. You did Dubai. They did Rich Hospital. They did, so it is possible if we the people hold them accountable. So let's not say, oh, it's not possible. It's possible. We should hold them accountable.
All right. Thank you very much. Sir, before you come in,
no problem. I'm not buttressing or rather refuting what you are saying. But since you are in the shoes of politicians, yes. But you made mention of, looking at where Ghana comes from. Yeah, if only.
thank you very much.
The reason I say so is that there are ways of that. If you're only looking at national sector, some of these major infrastructure have massive to paga, and the work that is going on is from different sources, from Actema. Now, when you do Buankra and you don't get the railways connected, the Buankra project will be virtually rendered useless. I know that in the Western Corridor, the railway is coming. It's quite close. And the idea is that when you do Buankra and you get the Western connected, ultimately they want to reduce importance. And you also want to use the railway line as carrying of goods for exports. So if you want to devote to Paga, it's not enough. Let's also add the railway from Tema to Buankra to Kumasi. Of course, the western one is close to completion. I wouldn't say it's completed. There's a lot more work to be done. But all these three are critical railway lines that has to be done. I will also add that on the major roads, we put here complete major roads. I think we should qualify it a little bit and make it the dualization, because complete can be anything. It can still be the single lane. I know there are certain portions that are being dualized because of the bypasses that are being done, but let's be very clear that I don't see why in today's Ghana, between Accra and Kumasi, and between Accra and say Cape Coast or Takoradi, we don't have dual carriage all the way. So let's be very clear and be specific on it. Thank you.
So Seth is proposing, before I come, he's proposing that instead of complete, we make it dualization. Do we agree so that I change accordingly? All right. Thank you very much.
don't think it's working. Hello. Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay, my name is Grace Krabedusei. I'm a certified speaker, coach, and trainer, and I'm here with the Executive Women's Network. So I have a little thing with the we're talking about widening the tax net. We're talking about from 30 to 50% within 5 years. I have a problem with the amount of taxes that we pay. And when you import something into the country, especially by when you ship in things, I mean, we have at least more than a dozen taxes that you have to pay. So at the end of the day, how will you, how do you have the moral right to ask people to pay taxes when the tax is too much already? Okay, so it's going to be like going forward and then going back 2 steps because people will not want to be taxed because the tax is too high. So, first of all, we have to look at how much tax we are paying, all the items in the all the items included in the taxes. We are still paying COVID levy, and we want to know how they are using the money, the COVID levy, for example. So you go out to eat. About 30% of your bill is taxes. It's too much. So if our government wants more people to pay tax and be happy to pay tax, they need to be accountable about how the tax is being used and and reduce just the list. The list of taxes is ridiculous. All right. And we are not even seeing the development. So we need to see that, that will help people to want to pay tax. If you want people to pay tax, reduce the taxes. Thank you.
All right. Before we've gotten a point, I think she's talking about the fact that taxes are too much. I think yesterday at the fiscal room, we learned that Ghana is countries within the sub-region that collects the less tax. It doesn't change the fact that the taxes is skewed, few people are paying, but what is very important is that we have to increase it. And when you look at the bigger paper that we've written, it's not limiting taxes to only those that are paying. We are prescribing to the government to open the tax nets. So that is what we are looking at. Taxes is what make our country better. But before any of you come in, I want Honorable Setekwe to come in. He has a comment to make.
Yes. So yeah, thank you very much. I just want to make a brief comment on infrastructure. The truth is that we cannot sustain infrastructure from the taxes that we collect on a year-to-year basis. If you follow, and I urge you to look at the source of financing of the trillions of investments that President Biden wants to do in the US, it has generated a debate on borrowing from the financial markets through their bonds. Now, when President Obama came and he said what we need are institutions, we needed to develop our capital markets, the so-called markets. And one of the things we did was to move the government's bonds to the stock exchange and to make sure that when you are, so when you are on the stock exchange, you cannot sustain yourself on the stock exchange if you keep borrowing and you don't repay, because you just be going up, and before long, you end up, in catastrophe, right? That was the essence of the sinking fund, which we set up. Now the government bonds, which we use, they were just 3 year and 5 year. 5 year, maybe you can repay major projects in 5 years. But the minimum for major projects like railway, harbor, and the rest is 10 years back, so that the project itself would help to pay for the loan. It shouldn't be the taxpayer. the project itself, because it's a commercial project. We'll learn to pay for itself. When we move the bonds were virtually oversubscribed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And then you have pension funds and others coming in to buy the bonds. Okay. It's the collapse of the repayment mechanism that led to the default. And the repayment mechanism came from the stabilization fund in the PRMA, which was vigorously debated. I mean, the majority leader is here, vigorously debated, because it was meant to help us resolve areas where our budgets were not good at resolving. Okay. Now we talk about China. If anybody is here, just Google China Development Bank ratings. China Development Bank ratings is A plus, A, investment grade. Google China Exim Bank ratings. The notion that is the Chinese government that gives money to CDB and Exim is something we should just forget about. With AAA, you are borrowing as virtually LIBOR plus, maybe what, 0.2 or 1%. So China Development Bank gets that. Then they introduce a blend, which is what they are going to borrow at low interest rates. And the grants that they should have, pure grant that they should have given to Ghana, and they do a blend and give you at 6%. Of course, the 6% is better than what you are doing even on the stock exchange at, London Stock Exchange through our bonds at, what? We did 10.2 and then 8, the best we did was 8.5. So Africa's middle income countries, including Ghana, should learn from these examples of advanced countries and the rest and begin to develop institutions. Right. So if we develop our institutions, at least as far as Cedi borrowing is concerned, we can get it in forests. Right. The sinking fund and that is very, very important. I like to. Secondly, borrowing. How many of you the airport tax that we all pay, which is in company? Airport should be structural investment for them. Example, African Development Bank, HSBC, and others. Right? You'll be able to go and buy this when you go to Dubai, you will see from one of the capital market. So China is heading towards A is A minus. The state has taken over, and then the rest which are paid in dollars. It took was if you did Terminal 3, and it has come to pass, it's true. China due to become a brick, right? Africa's middle income countries should be 1% over a long period of time.